Chapter 11. Elisa hadn't slept well, and it showed when she arrived at work. Peggy immediately noticed the puffiness under her boss's eyes. Don't say a word, Elisa warned. I tossed and turned all night. Thank God I have Doris to work her magic. How did it go with the house? Peggy asked hopefully. She had been the one who had made the phone calls arranging for the driver to pick up Jenny and her grandmother for the ride out to New Jersey. Loved it. Bought it. Wow, that was quick. Congratulations. For someone who had just found her perfect home, Elisa didn't seem too happy. But Peggy didn't think it was her place to pursue it further. 22 years old, she still couldn't believe she was working at Key News for Elisa Blake. She held her boss in you, though she tried hard not to show it. Any important messages? Elisa asked briefly. Range would like to see you when it's convenient, and Abigail Snow wants to know when you'll be able to tape the news promos. Mail? The letter from Mead passed uncertainly through Peggy's mind, but she did not mention it. Fraxa, the Fragile X Research Foundation, would like you to be their keynote speaker at a fundraising dinner at Tavern on the Green next May. Fine. Check my calendar. If I'm open, accept for me. If I have something else booked, move it around. Elisa had never even heard of Fragile X syndrome, the most common form of inherited mental retardation, until she had gotten to know Bill Kendall, her predecessor, the legendary Key News anchorman who had committed suicide last spring. Bill's son, William, had Fragile X. Bill had always been so kind to Lisa, especially when she was going through the worst of it after John had died and Jenny was born. Lois Kendall, William's mother, had found the house she was about to buy, and William was the sweetest young man. There was no way she was going to refuse Fraxa. Elisa turned to go into her office but stopped as Peggy remembered something else. There was another letter from Sarah Morton. Oh, let me see it. There was a tone of concern and sadness in Elisa's voice. She took the envelope from Peggy's outstretched hand and began to read it as she walked to her desk. Sarah was a 12-year-old from Sarasota, Florida, and had been writing to Elisa for months. Elisa was her idol. The young girl her the young girl had first written her when Elisa was still anchoring the morning show. The letter probably never would have reached Elisa's desk as most fan letters failed to do, but Sarah's case was special. After just a dozen years on this earth, Sarah Morton was undergoing cancer treatments, and a student who loved to play soccer and softball. Sarah explained that she watched Kay to America each morning and dreamed of become a television newswoman one day. Of all the women on TV, Sarah declared Elisa was her favorite. Elisa had answered Sarah's letter personally, taking her, encouraging her to keep up with the news, and wishing her good luck. The following week, Sarah sent another letter, thrilled that Elisa had responded to her letter and asking for an autographed picture. And so it started. Elisa made it a point to take a few minutes each week to answer Sarah's sweet, handwritten letter. The girl was so grateful for her revered pen pal. Elisa hadn't had the heart to stop their correspondence. As Sarah described the 30th road of chemotherapy she was undergoing, and talked about losing her hair and how embarrassed she was about it. Elisa found herself weeping for the child, and of course, she knew she was crying for John as well. Many nights she thought of Sarah as she tucked her own Jenny into bed and said a silent prayer of thanksgiving that her own little girl was healthy. Now, as Elisa scanned the last note, Sarah said she was coming to New York next week to see the doctors at Sloan Kettering. Elisa instinctively felt fear as she saw the leading cancer hospital name on the white sheet before her. Sloan was where John had died. Things must really be bad. There was a second, typed letter in the envelope on the letterhead of Samuel Morton, attorney at law. Dear Miss Blake, thank you from the bottom of my heart for the correspondence you have so generously and painfully kept up with Sarah. It has meant the world to her. On her worst days, she reads your letters to take her mind off the pain she's in. For all the hellish treatments she has been through, we've seen no real improvement. In fact, she's getting worse. The trip to New York is really a last-ditch attempt to see if there's anything else that can be done. Sarah doesn't know that I'm writing to you, and I know that it is terrible presumptuous of me to ask what I'm about to request. Is there any chance that we could set up some time for Sarah to meet you personally while we're in New York? It will mean the world to her and to me to see my daughter happy before she dies, was the great unspoken.